Okay, this is the second part. In the first part, if you haven't watched that one, I just went over a couple of words for Coco Manila, who was trying to, attempting to say some of these words. He was quite good actually, at least for a first-time speaker of Danish. But I find that, well, speaking Danish is my second nature, or in a manner of speaking, my first nature actually, because I grew up with this language and I don't know anything about how you're supposed to learn it. I know absolutely nothing about it, but from what I can tell, the greatest challenges that people face when trying to learn a language is just getting the accent right, the pronunciations. So I thought to myself, what would I do if I were to learn this language, Danish? And I think a good idea might be to try to get into the sort of speech pattern that arises within a language and just sort of listen to it and maybe trying to copy it a bit. So I was thinking now, as an exercise, I'm going to read this, I'll show you, this newspaper. Orange Press. It's from a Danish festival actually, and it's written in Danish too. So I'm just going to read it. And if you're interested in learning Danish, I think this will be a crucial thing, is to try to replicate some of the sounds, some of the pronunciations and accents that are woven into a language, because that has to be the most challenging part. Trying to get under the skin of this language, because that's what challenges people the most. So I'm just going to read it, and if you're following me, I'm going to read in a normal speed, not too fast, not too slow. I'm just going to read ahead, and what you should do is try to replicate everything that I say. So as soon as it goes into your ear, you just try to replicate the sounds and the way I'm speaking. Try to position your throat, your tongue in a specific way. You don't have to feel shy about this or anything. If you feel shy about it, be sure to lock your room and perhaps put on some so you can at least hear people criticizing you or thinking, what the hell is he doing? But try to replicate the sounds, try to get into the speech pattern, the way I'm speaking. I think that would be one of the most advantageous ways to go about it. Okay, I'm just going to begin reading. I've wasted enough time talking now, so før du begynder at brokke dig over alle de fulde svenskere, der spiser dine medbragte pølseretter, så kig dig lige omkring. Kan du overhovedet se nogle svenskere? Der er i hvert fald langt mellem dem, for der er færre svenskere på Roskilde Festival i år, end der nogensinde har været før. Og det er der en god grund til: finanskrisen. Vi er jo super glade for svenskerne, så det har været en stor betydning, at færre kommer. Både økonomisk og socialt har vi forsøgt at indsætte meget billigere busser, og det har heldigvis gjort, at der stadig kommer mange, men dog færre end normalt, fortæller en ærgerlig talsmand fra festivalen, Esben Danielsen. Så mens svenskerne har invaderet musikprogrammet, er det småt med det blågule repræsentation på campingpladsen. Maybe I should have rehearsed this before I actually started reading, but I'll just go on right here. I et afsvedet hjørne i J45 har Martin og Andreas fra Landskrona dog knaldet deres teltstænger i den golde jord og lavet en god gammeldags svenskerlejr. Men det var ikke helt nemt i år. Vores venner fra Skåne skal ud og rejse senere i år, så de måtte spare Roskilde Festivalen væk, nu hvor det omkostningerne stiger. En billet koster 2.500 svenske kroner, og så er der transport, sprut, smøger og mad oveni. Det er jævla dyrt. There was a Swedish sentence in there. Synes Andreas, som i år har brugt en alternativ måde at finde landsfældelejre med medlemmerne på. Vi brugte et forum på et alternativt svensk musiksite, helgon.se. Der fandt vi nogle andre svenskere, som havde råd til at tage afsted, så vi bliver 19 på torsdag, når de sidste kommer, fortæller Martin. Mad til hele ugen. En ting er billetternes pris. Oveni kommer andre finanskriser ramte udfordringer. Maden er hundedyr i danske kroner, fortæller lyshåret Malin, som har slæbt mad til hele ugen fra Sverige. Men det er ikke engang nok, må hun irriteret konstatere efter at kigge ind i madteltet. Trods finanskriser og sprogbarriere holder svenskerne bag badesøen dog modet højt og glæder sig over de søde danskere, det fantastiske vejr og boden Anna på anlægget. Bombesagen opklaret. Da politiet søndag eftermiddag blev kontaktet om fundet af en bombelignende genstand, tog de ingen chancer. Genstanden blev sprængt i luften og sendt til teknisk tjeneste for at finde ud af om indholdet. Sendt til teknisk tjeneste. Men mandag eftermiddag kom en 32-årig nordmand ind på stationen i Roskilde for at melde sin bagage stjålet. Han havde et hjemmelavet laserlysshow med, men var ved et busskifte blevet skilt fra sin bagage. Herefter har en person fragtet lysshowet ned på festivalpladsen. Og det var altså den kasse, der klokken 14 søndag blev sprængt til atomer. Den 32-årige nordmand kunne med sikkerhed sige, at de sørgelige rester af det bortsprængte fra festivalpladsen var resterne af et hjemmelavet lysshow, fortæller Midt- og Vestjyllands politi. Okay, I'm going to quickly translate the last part of this text because it was actually quite kind of funny. It was this Norwegian guy who was traveling to a festival here in Denmark, and he brought a laser show, a kind of little box that was shooting lasers up in the air. It was supposed to be a gimmick for a party or something like that, and he just placed it at the one of the camping sites by itself, and then all of a sudden someone called in a bomb threat. And when all of the police came into the campsite and they saw this box just sitting there, this suspicious box that in reality it was for a light show, but they didn't know that. So they sent in dogs and they sent in all kinds of people to check it out and find out what it is and what it was. And after a lot of talking back and forth, they decided to, well, set charges to it and make it explode. So it went up in flames and exploded. And next day the Norwegian guy came back and he looked at it, hey, where's my light show? Where is it? My laser light show's gone. So they had basically just blown it to pieces. Okay. But it would probably be a good idea to maybe listen to some Danish videos of, well, perhaps that Danish speakers, people who speak Danish on the videos, or people who are just reading up something or telling a story or something like that, and just trying to replicate the speech patterns, the way they speak. Because once you do that, you begin to find out how to differentiate between words, individual words, and you begin to sort of delve under this this fabric of the speech patterns and begin to get the proper accent and the proper pronunciation and all of these kind of things. It's a matter of practice, because I think that's the hardest part about learning Danish. It's just a guess basically, and I'm not a linguist or anything, but that's what I'd suppose. So that's pretty much it. If you have any kind of questions, if you have any kind of additions or critique, or if you just want to ask me something, you can do that, and I'll be right here, and I'll perhaps even post another video if you request it. And that's basically it. See ya.